Just loading in the live stream, and then we're going to jump into this. All right. So the song is by Beautiful Chorus. I do not own the rights to this song, to this music, but I come with this little light of mine energy because we are entering into Leo territory. And even though Cancer is still shining bright as it does, it brings in the summer energy. And we're approaching a new moon, but there are some important things that you may want to know as this new moon energy loads in, as you prepare to ritual, you prepare to set your intentions. I think that the universe is very merciful in that we have the marking points in the year. And are there any first timers here that I need to introduce myself to, or is this family? Is this all family that's here? It's all family in the house. Any first timers? Okay. So this energy that we are entering into, I don't know if you all have felt a little bit like clothes in a dryer. If you could imagine clothes in a dryer being tossed around a little bit, emotionally, mentally, financially, sometimes energetically, because there's so much that is going on, that even if it's like this, like we were told, and I'm from down south, tumble dry, you say. I'm from Mississippi, and so I grew up around the Mississippi River, and then I went to school at Southern in Baton Rouge, and that was on the Mississippi. And I got married. My first marriage, I was in New Orleans, and that became my second home, and that was on the Mississippi. So when I tell you that I have a relationship with the water, but it's one of respect, because we were always told don't play around the Mississippi River because it can be calm looking on the top. But what takes people under, and I'm talking about the most skilled swimmers, is this energy that's happening underneath. They call it like little tornadoes. It's the undercurrent, but they specifically call it that it acts like a cylinder and pulls you right on down. But it can be calm on the top. And so swimmers think that they're good and they get sucked under. To me, that's also a spiritual phenomena that's happening. But that's what the energy has been like planetarily. We have proof of that based off of the water swelling all over where there are no floods. I mean, you all do know that they're said that there was water in what we consider to be deserts. So don't be surprised if you see water or flooding in deserts, because it's not unlikely. It happened in Arizona where there was no water. Or for years it had not been water, and suddenly water returned and created a lake like in just a few hours. And so now we see this phenomena happening. So that's evidence that the planet is shifting. The volcanoes that are erupting are very significant. And if you have a scientific mind, you pay attention, you look at it, you see where it is. And maybe If you have spiritual eyes, you also pay attention and look in what hemisphere this is in. What happened to the people that were there? What's the history of the people? The point is, we call this Mother Earth, but we tend to only look at the literal earth, the ground. We do not look at everything, that all of this is mother. And so even when we have been in favorable times energetically, the point is there is so much activity that's happening. And as women, we tend to feel that even when we don't have language for it, or when we don't have the library reference on the inside of ourselves. I don't believe that's many of you, even if you're learning, you're learning the stars, the planets, the language of them for yourself and just at large. I don't believe that's us, because many of you have done some type of work on your inner work on yourselves. You've studied other systems and that type of thing. Even when you're listening, it's possible that you are hearing certain alignments with what you've been taught. And if not, that's something you learn when you come to get a reading with me. I try to spend a lot of my sessions explaining to you in a way that you'll never forget. Basically how your vessel has been programmed or influenced or imprinted, which is your blueprint. I say all of that because the grace that we've had is kind of like the halfway point, the 6th and 7th month. But when we go into August for the Lion's Gate, which has been more celebrated in the West in the last few years. Now, other cultures celebrate these occurrences, and sometimes they call them by different names, but literally there are celebrations during this time, or activities, rituals, things that you do to finish off the next half of the year, to program the next half, because so much energy is happening. Typically around the 888 Lion's Gate, everybody looks forward to it because it's a prosperity gate. And so if you have been funny with your money or funny with your vision, meaning the thing that you set in motion in January, if you aren't doing it by April and May, a lot of times you can feel some kind of way with yourself. And this is a great time. Summertime is a great time to check out just because you want to have fun. But if you're wise spiritually, you're not just trying to be outside, not just anywhere, not just traveling anywhere, not just getting in any waters. I don't, my girlfriend called me today and she said, do you want to go somewhere? Let's just go somewhere. And I said, no, let's see where we're going, because it's hurricane season. Let's see where we're going, because I know what travels with me and I don't want it to follow me there. And I'm talking about rising waters. Okay. So I'm not just going anywhere. I'm not even just jumping on any flights without reading it and checking in on certain things. That's what becoming the priestess of your own household requires, is a new level of commitment to, one, pay attention, but two, to get into activity, intention. Start with intention. So pay attention, then move into intention, but intention requires a demonstration. So when we come up on a new moon, we're talking about a new moon that, let me see, is in Leo, moving through Gemini, because Venus is very active. So I'm going to talk a lot more about the new moon energy of Gemini I mean, excuse me, of Leo, but also this, because this conjunct, the moon is conjunct with Venus. We need to pay attention to it, especially as goddesses, as women who are practicing the feminine technology, or you know, or any type of soul care, feminine soul care, spiritual soul care, any of this. Because Venus also governs our love, sex, and money. So a lot of times when you're outside in the summertime, you know, you outside if you're single. Or you know, you care about your body, you move differently. So let's break this down a little bit, okay? Before I even get to the Lion's Gate, because this Lion's Gate is going to be a little different because Mercury is in retrograde during the Lion's Gate. Nothing to really fear, but it will require us to go deeper. And because the moon is also, and the new moon is also in Leo, that means I need to pay attention to this Leo energy, because this as we get closer to the 8th, then this energy doubles. It doubles. So this, pay attention if you're wanting, and I had you all do a little icebreaker exercise that we'll talk about. And I want you to, as you listen, think about the icebreaker that you did with the puzzle, because that's also a rhema. For those of you who pray with me, you know what a rhema is. If you're from IVTV, you know what a rhema is by now. If you don't know what a rhema is, put it in the chat so that I can tell you, I can slow down and tell you. But you did a rhema, and listen through the ears of that rhema that you did with the puzzle. Okay, very good. A rhema is when you take a book and open it to any page and see what spirit says. See what the message is on any page. A rhema is, typically you do a rhema with the Bible, or a Quran, Bhagavad Gita, Course in Miracles. But you also are doing a rhema when you pull cards, when you get a reading in some ways. But a reading is much more intentional because it uses certain tools. So you did a rhema come before you came in here, and those 3 words, see if it resonates with you or arises in you. So let's talk about this moon and Venus energy hanging out together like buddies for about 48, I'd say about 48 hours. That means that matters of the heart could be activated for you right now. Nobody even has to know. You quietly could be processing matters of the heart, meaning things that matter and are close to your heart that nobody knows necessarily but you. I have an example of some matters of the heart. It could be your money, it can be your bills, it could be your relationships. Most time it's your relationships, because Venus governs how you want to be loved, how you love, where love has disappointed you, where your heart has been broken. And Leo governs the heart. The sun governs Leo. Venus governs Venus governs Taurus and Libra. So pay attention, Taurus is in Libras. Or if you know your chart where you have these things. So when you have a retrograde happening, a retrograde takes you deeper into whatever energy is being amplified, particularly in this case, the moon is also about emotions. And the last few planets that we've talked about have been planets that are activating our emotions related to self. So if you're not typically an emotional person and you found yourself feeling more emotional, more triggered, even more annoyed, then it really has to do with the atmosphere. People also have a very short fuse right now out in the world. People are flicking off, tripping, because it could be one thing, but it's not one thing. It's been a series of things, not to mention if people are taking DNA altering substances or took them in 2020, that there's so much research coming out that is also affecting the psychology, the literal psychology of humans. People are not the same because they've been altered. And we sometimes go into things that are close to our heart as if we already know people, as if we already know them. I was talking to someone today from my hometown, and it stopped by my mother's house, and there was some family members there who, didn't know who he was, and my mom didn't register who he was. Anyway, long story short, I called to thank him for going to check on my mom, even though they didn't let him in. And I said, and he said, "Oh my goodness, they call me other names in my hometown," and he was like, "You don't even sound the same." And I said, "You hadn't talked to me in years. How would you know? I mean, like, you hadn't talked to me in years. I've never been on the telephone with you." So people have an expectation that you are going to be the same, or that they're coming in contact with the same person they went to high school with. Your family members are the greatest offenders, because you could be real grown, handling bills, doing things out in the world, but when you go home, you fall into the 15-year-old, the 12-year-old. I have had people tell me that this week, in the last few weeks, that something happens to me just when I get on the phone. Sometimes, there are certain people in my life I get on the phone with, and I'm, and I've had to work on that, because the retrograde will take you into the core of what you have believed about love or unmet needs regarding love, where you've been felt unseen, where you've been mute, unheard. Even if you've been talking, even the people in your world close to you sometimes have filters. Any wives in here understand when I say you could say the same thing to your beloved one? You could say the same thing that somebody else comes along and say, and they like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, I don't know." And you're looking at them like they have two heads, like, "I know you effing lying." Y'all know how the saying goes. "I know you didn't." Every wife the wives are saying yes. And certainly if you have sons. But it really is not just the male-female dynamic. It is sometimes very tied. I mean, it can be very tied to your blueprint, depending on where you have stubborn planets that affect how you listen. And that's a whole another place to go, because sometimes in our lives, there are people who tell us, but depending even on your own planet, how you receive information is also how you will receive discipline. And with Saturn and Pisces also being in retrograde, my friends, Saturn is about your lessons, how you get your lessons, when you don't listen to anybody, Saturn says, "I'll give it to you like this." Saturn and Neptune being in retrograde and conjunct is like full circle energy. Now, Saturn is going to be coming out of retrograde soon, but we'll get there in a couple of months. But we need to, or in a few weeks, but we need to focus on this retrograde because this shift can also bring great clarity. Typically, wherever Venus is, she brings benefits. Wherever Venus is, she's a beneficent. Love, sex, and money brings benefits, right? We all want more of it. More love, more sex, more money. And she brings it. But y'all ever heard that Reverend Ike say money is like a woman? That you got to treat her right so that she can give you some more, some more good loving. That if that money is like a woman. Reverend Ike talks about this. And so, what's your money conversation really about? What is it really about? Is it that you keep on DIYing it, trying to do it your way, even when you've been given a way and you won't try a way because you already say that works for them, that not me, or I just might as well do it myself? Huh? I was working on a website for the new system that we're working on for our students at Hillside, and I had thought I was going, oh, let me just go on and do this and put this together because I can. But just because you can does not mean you should. In other words, feminine leaders, this is also a season to rise into delegation, not being the doer, but duplicating yourself, building a team, relinquishing all of the things that you have on your plate. Most of us are not good leaders. How you know we're not good leaders? Or we didn't come from good leaders? Because when Big Mama leaves the family, when the Big Mama passes on, why does the family fall apart? Because the Big Mama model has oftentimes been the martyr model where she's carrying the weight of everything on her. And that's why oftentimes she gets sick. And then when she's not there, then the family falls apart. Because why? Nobody was given any instructions. Nobody was given any directions on how to do this or that. So she did everything. Or the oldest child is the one that automatically it's assumed that they're going to step in. But what if that's not, if they don't have any direction? Or one of the people in the family now takes it on. This is the kind of energy that we all have to choose how we're going to play. Even as leaders who have a lot of things on our plate, it may be the season for you to say, okay, what is it that we have to release? Just because I can doesn't mean that I should be the one doing everything. That's for leadership, wherever you're leading, wherever whatever business you're running, project you're running. Otherwise, it's easy to run yourself into the ground, even for things that you love, because Venus is about love, even for people that you love. Let me give another example because I know examples help. I was talking to one of my elders, and I have access to some information that could help someone financially. The next level beyond abundance and all of the things that I'm teaching in the Fab Factor, which you'll have an opportunity to experience if you desire. The reason why we have to be retaught about how we hold abundance and heal our relationship with money, our relationship with sensuality and sexuality is because they all go together. They work together for our good. Somebody put that in the chat. My love, sex, and money works together for my good. And when they're not working together, usually one affects the other. And so I was telling somebody, I said, normally I'm the kind of person, if I got something, I want you to have some of it. I want you to taste it. I want to give it to you. Sometimes I give away too much too soon for people who are not in the position to handle it, to digest it. They might be able to taste it, but maybe their digestive system is not even prepared to handle food that rich. And I'm talking about spiritual food. And the Holy Spirit, human design has taught me, astrology prepared me, but human design taught me how to implement this. To check in on my authority to see if I get a yes or a no. So I said, that we were talking about sharing it with different people. And Spirit said, no. This is for you. This is for you to do. And if it reopens, then share it. Because I get to break the pattern of giving everything away and hold something for myself. And not only hold something for myself, but focus on my goal in a concentrated effort, because it's a limit, it's a time clock on what we have to do. And that's what Saturn represents. This is the season of self-mastery in a way that even in the intensity, even in the chaos, you know what to do to keep yourself sane. Remember, Venus is earth energy. When you do rituals, earth energy is money energy. They go together. The moon is considered to be a watery energy because it's pulling water from where? The earth. Because it once was a part of the earth. So when the moon connects with Gemini for the next 48 hours or so, there's going to be an energetic shift that sends some change into motion. Y'all know if you are new to the community, I would encourage you to download the Shift Everything ebook, because everything is shifting. And I have learned that I am so ahead of my time that sometimes I'm forecasting and projecting things that are to come, and only certain people who have certain ears to hear can receive it. Because the tendency is to say, not right now. Because the Black woman in America, and I specifically mean us, has been programmed to respond only when we are in pain. Venus comes to say, but what kind of pleasure are you making room for? What's your vision of pleasure? What does pleasure look like, feel like, taste like, smell like? What colors does it wear? How does it move through your body? Most of us have not known that in a long time. This is also about attraction, communication, because Mercury in retrograde comes to slow you down. Now check this out. In Leo, Leo is a communicator about matters of the heart. So in other words, you cannot escape this energy. So when you do set your intentions, what is your heart craving? What is your heart desire? But the heart is not just about love. The heart is also about courage. Do you have the heart to take the next step towards your vision? Do you have the heart to move to the place you've been salivating about? Or are you going to stay in your comfort zone? Are you unwilling to get a little messy for a little while? Because Venus energy is muddy. It's the lotus, just like the womb or the yoni. is considered like a lotus flower that sits in wetness on a pond, little lily pad. It's sitting in the mud, but it grows and blossoms. When is the last time your lily pad has been open in a muddy situation? Baby, that's a feminine trait, art, technology, is to use pleasure even when you're grieving, when you're worried, when you're anxious, to play when everything is serious, to find your skip and your hum and your dance. What you dancing for? That bill is due. I'm going to dance in just like the indigenous people of the land would rain dance and stop the rain or call the rain in. Just like the indigenous women go to the water and begin to sing to the water and beat on the water and call up the waves or calm them down. This is us. This is when you need to know, we need to know that our words carry power as we're coming out of July soon and towards this Lion's Gate. Because the energy, whenever there is a double up energy or a gateway that opens and closes, the energy starts 1 week prior when you are aware and paying attention that you have to use. So you also have this new moon to leverage your intentions for the next 30 days. This is why we do this every month, because the energy is different every month. Everything, the planets are always shifting and changing, but what about you? Why do you think things are supposed to be routine, the same, calculated? Now, the calculation comes in the change because astrology is mathematical. Spirituality is mathematics. Spiritual mathematics can be studied and measured by alchemists. You say, how do I measure if I have a something that I want to do? You look at the timing of when you do what you do, how you do the thing that you want to do. And also about building momentum. Now, we'll talk about this for those of you who do come into the Fab Factor, because I am going to open it up. A special one. Because this is so pivotal for where we are talking about in terms of our manifestation. It's like a good opportunity for reset. It's a good opportunity for revival. A good old, y'all, anybody from the South know anything about a revival, baby? An old church revival. Anybody know about an old church revival, baby? Honey, sometimes they was good. They were good. A tent revival. Okay, a tent revival. You see what I'm saying? A shut-in. Oh, yes. Sometimes as cosmic freedom riders, spiritual warriors, awakened travelers, awakeners, healers, teachers, you have to call for a revival at the right time, at the right energy, so that you can travel through the rest of the year covered. How many of you here today felt some covering because of the work that you did during Easter and into April? How many of you? I can't see everybody, so you can take yourself off mute or put it in the chat. Say me. Let me know. Doretha, I don't remember you being in Fab or the Juicy. Okay, Juicy. Okay, Juicy. Okay, Meg, you felt it. Okay, I want to hear more about that, because God knows, I know we activated something so special because you were there. You know what I'm talking about. the chains that you all broke, the new contracts that you made, the decisions, the choices that you made, you move in different. You cleared something off of you. So all the things that are piling on from responsibilities, from suddenlies that are happening and shifting, people are being laid off during this time. Those shifts affect everything. But why is that many of us in this circle still are working? Some people prospering. Some people are having more breakthroughs. The ancestors are speaking and showing you signs in new and phenomenal ways. Do you think that that's an accident? No, it's not. I'm going to answer for you. So this is calling for you to think about situations where you are being drained, situations where you are overgiving, overcompensating, doing too much. This is where you, even in old relationships where you have not gotten what you've asked for, pay attention. Because see, you can't control anybody when you ask for what you need, but you still can pay attention to how they respond. What you do after the response is up to you. Now, that doesn't mean that you always pick up your toys and leave and run. That's fight or flight. You might need to work on that. If you have a pattern of fight or flight in your relationships, that's what you will come into fab to work on. Why do I flee? Why do I have defenses up? Why do I argue so much? Why do I get annoyed at the sound of a man's voice this way? Why do I need for my partner to give me what my mama didn't give me or my dad didn't give me? I'm putting it on my partner. This is what Venus brings up, y'all, in a conjunction with the moon. The moon is talking about how you want to be mothered and ancestral energy. Sometimes you're clearing what your mother didn't clear. When you see this kind of conjunction, you say, why is this happening? Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm trying not to go too deep. Try not to go too deep in here today, y'all. Okay. I'm gonna take us off of the stream and talk a little bit and take some of your questions, particularly processing the icebreaker. Yes, it's deep, girl. You say go deep. Oh, you say go deep. That's because y'all live in the deep. Y'all are ready to swim, honey. You are already ready. So because you're juicy. Now, when we talk about the number 8, the number 8 is a number of prosperity. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but it's also the number of karma. So when we're talking about you clearing things, sometimes you're clearing it for your children too. You're breaking patterns for your children too. You're doing rituals for your bloodline, because oftentimes the one who awakens is the one that's carrying it for the whole line, sometimes in 50, 70, 80 years, maybe 100 years before your grandmother's, your mother and your grandmother's mother's mother was awakened. She knew who she was. She prayed for you to remember, and it took this many generations for you to be the one to remember, to be curious, to ask questions, and to do this work. You're not just doing it for you and for your money. You're not. So there's some pieces that are happening with this moon and this Venus that connects with the Palladians even. And all I will say about the Palladians, the Anunnaki, these other civilizations, they are making themselves known again, because the earth is revealing so much more is happening underneath the waters, underneath the core. Are you all picking up what I'm putting down? Have you all been studying or listening to? Because I stay in my lane. I'm coming to this from from an astro-psychological or astro-spiritual application, because it's very practical and being able to apply. But the science and the history of this goes so much deeper into those who specialize with communicating and channeling. You may be experiencing, by the way, with this Gemini energy. Gemini is the universal channeler. Most Geminis have the gift of channeling, intuitive healing. It took me years to be able just to slow down to really understand what was happening with me. So you too may be receiving dreams, messages in dreams, because of what's happening with Neptune as well. Okay, so let me see. Let me speed up, because I was about to break down the numbers as well, but we still have, I might do another planning with the planets on next Monday. I know we've been alternating, but because the Lionsgate is always so special for me and to me. One, because of all of the numbers in my chart, but it's also usually a very special time for our community to tap into this energy with an activation session. I'm not going to do one publicly this year, because that is the energy. This is really a specialized type of focus. Now with this retrograde happening in Leo, it's also going to be about how you express yourself. So I don't know why Spirit's saying for me to say this. Goodness gracious. So I'm gonna close my eyes so you don't think I'm looking at you or talking to you. How we express ourselves sometimes is half of the battle and half of the problem. It's not that we don't say it. Sometimes it's the way we say it. And also sometimes it's the way we react to what is being said. So it's two things happening, because Gemini is an energy of duality, and in Leo and Gemini energy work together real good because of the expressiveness. And so how we say something, yes, we can be mindful of how we deliver it, but sometimes the truth will piss you off and then set you free, and it doesn't matter how anybody says the truth. So you can't always react to how the sound of what you don't like, or you don't like how it's being said. Ask yourself, can I get past? When I tell you, some of you, I know this applies to some of you, because some of y'all bougie like me and my family. Some of y'all. Now, I don't think I'm on the highest level of bougie, but there are some. I tell y'all to go listen to Rod Hayes. I know some of y'all can't listen to Rod Hayes because of the way he drops F-bombs and he curses and da-da-da-da-da-da. And you certainly probably couldn't listen to his partner that he does the study groups with, who splits vowels, has broken English, and all of that. But if you can humble yourself to listen to what is being said, do you know half of what they're even talking about? And if you don't know it, can you sit your ass down long enough to say, let me listen to what is being said, but without me sitting here judging it in my high and mighty self? Such a muchness. No, he can't teach me nothing. He can't even talk. I'm telling you that I've been there. I've done it sometimes. There was a time in my life where my husband was bringing me some information, and the information sounded too much like the red, black, and green radical Afrocentric, pro-righteous teachers, where I had already come from. I've been delivered from that. I've been set free from that. Sabrina, I see you. I've been set free from that. So if it sounded like that, I just was like, ain't nobody trying to go back there in that direction. I literally could not hear because of my judgment. And then one day, remember I was talking about how somebody else can come and say something, the same thing that was being said, and then you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what the last person just said. And you're like, I don't know why I didn't hear that before. Well, that happened to me. It was like a light bulb came on, And I even heard when my husband said, don't worry about it, just listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying. But that's how I became familiar that I still had residue. I had residue of my old dogmatic ways. So when you have residue, the residue is a mirror of what once was for you. That's the kind of stuff it will bring up. Patterns of thinking, patterns of responding, patterns of behavior, patterns. And as a metaphysician, as a counselor, as one who does coaching and all that, we're taught how to interrupt the patterns and create new pathways of our feminine, for our feminine, new pathways of abundance, new pathways of relationships, new pathways of communication. Do you know that many of us in our relationships are really trauma bonding? Your trauma might be one thing, your partner's trauma may be one thing, but they go together. That's how come empaths oftentimes attract narcissists, because they go together. Because even though empaths, I'm an empath, I'm an empath, I'm an empath. Oh, don't touch me. Oh, ouch, that hurts. Oh, I feel that. Oh, don't say that to me. Nobody's responsible for your gift but you. Hear what I said. Nobody is responsible for the hygiene of your gift but you. But if you go through what everybody is saying online and how I'm going to cut them off because I'm an empath, so I can't take their energy, it's arrogance, it's ego. Leo brings the lessons, particularly in retrograde, about your ego, our ego. When a Leo is arrogant and makes it about himself, herself, he can lose everything. She can lose everything. When the Leo energy makes it for the good of the team, because oftentimes they're leading. So often Leo energy cannot abuse their authority. When they abuse their authority, people hate them and don't want to work with them because they take up space just naturally. So there may be spaces that you take up naturally and you don't have to do it forcefully. So this is not about force. This is not about forcing your will, your way, your gifts adjust to me because I'm hurt. It might hurt our feelings. Sometimes my husband say to me when I'm saying, "Oh, that hurt my feelings." He said, "What does that have to do with me?" Sometimes. Because we want somebody to say, "Oh, baby, I didn't mean to hurt you." And so we're playing into the trauma instead of going to take a beat, take a knee, go to your altar, go take a spiritual bath, go cleanse yourself, go outside and ground. Put the responsibility on other people. The other thing is old connections could come back into your life. That old thing might show up. Okay. You may feel emotional waves during this period. Ask the emotion, what is this? What is the source of this? Ask it questions. Or don't ask it anything and move it out of your body. This is about movement as well. So going to just go lay down in it, go getting in the bed. Because that's what a lot of us who work hard do. Just talking to another person who told me, yeah, I'm in the bed by 7 o'clock. She said, my days are so hard that I just need, she said, it takes me about 2 hours just to unwind. I said, wow, okay. A lot of us are not exercising all of the gifts and talents and spiritual energy that we have. So it sits on us and becomes heavy. This is about moving the energy. This is an open door. This is open door season. This Mercury retrograde will be intense. It will feel almost sometimes like we're in the eye of a storm. the Lionsgate 8/8 is not just the special time that we're leaving up to. We also look at the 17th of August as well, because that's another 8/8. But most of the attention is put on the 8/8, the day of the 8/8. There are some specific things that you can do. You almost can do any water, I would say, except for any water, any ritual: water, air, and earth. I would, because Leo energy is already hot and fiery, you can do some rituals with fire, like writing things down, burning them up to release them, the simple things, the basic things. But keep in mind that the tongue, the air energy, being the Mercury in retrograde, something could just come out. I'm like, where did that come from? Don't be above being willing to apologize and clean it up. Don't let it linger. I didn't mean it that way. Wait, oh, I was today I was in a meeting, another story. And the people came into the meeting to help us. And they came in the meeting and told us what we needed. We already knew what we needed. And they asked me something else, or us something else. And I said, I said, give me a minute, because I want to respond to you properly. Take a minute. You know what you want to say. And filter it about 3 times to take the heat off of it, to take the edge off of it, to even go back and respond with a question sometimes rather than just telling. So just being mindful that your voice right now is everything. Typically, we wouldn't get this early, but the conjunction of Leo, with the moon, being Gemini with the moon, Leo in retrograde, and the moon being in Leo, new moon, and then we have still the conjunction of Saturn and Pisces hanging out in Aries. That's a lot of activity. And they're also in retrograde. And every time I do planning with the planets, I go back, I see something, I say, I should have told them about this. I should have told them about that. But stay tuned inside of our portal, because if I have another, oh yeah, and look for the post that says, and I forgot to tell you, or oh yeah, and, because there's so many other movements happening that I didn't touch on. I just want to focus on this week being a new moon energy week that we're coming up on, so that we can go ahead and start preparing how we take care of ourselves, our rituals, and what we're going to set in motion. Now, I also have put I've opened the Fab Factor up for us to do a special Lionsgate Fab Factor, particularly for those who have not been a part of Fab. It's going to open on the 4th, for the 4th rather. The 3rd will be the day that we get set up for some of the VIP. And then the 4th through you will go into the Lionsgate. We'll have a special activation session. That way you would have had 4 days in feminine abundance. You will be able to rise and benefit off of your feminine abundance formula coming out of this Lion's Gate, getting ready to go into the next portal that opens on the 17th. We're gonna, in other words, we're gonna work this August, baby. Now, if you are a Juicy She Rose, you will be invited to the advanced process. And if you take the next step into this advanced process, because it's not open to everybody, you have to receive an invitation. And if you accept that invitation to move into the advanced shamanistic process that we're going into, you will be able to audit the Fab Factor with your sisters if you would like. It's optional. So I think that's more than enough. I didn't even know I had this much to download to you all today. And I hope that it will be supportive as you get ready to do some planning. So I will take some questions, some reflections, particularly from the icebreaker that we did today, to see what spirit is saying to you, what you align with. So I thank those of you who are watching or will watch the replay on YouTube. This offer is available to you right now. I have it reduced. It is I think I have about $50 off of the normal registration rate for those in the tribe to grab it right now. It's a 7-day process. It is hybrid. It is recorded, and there are some live sessions. So it's a great opportunity to use this special time. So that being said, we aren't going anywhere. For those of you who are here, if you're watching, join us in the portal so that you can get access to the community and be with us on Zoom, so you can benefit from this live time that we have for our tribe talk. Tribe talk has become much more personal and purposeful for those who are in the portal, because it works when you work it. I love you. If you're watching on YouTube, there's nothing you can do about it. Now, those of you